I do just pin the entire server when I do stuff like this, and anyone is welcome to join. You just have to be quick because these servers do kind of fill up kind of quick. But yeah, we got people joining. Hopefully they have some cool auras, some cool things to show to us
No,
while we wait around this parkour area.
Oh my god.
To get one of the battles we're looking for. Let's take a quick look. Yeah, we still got 6 minutes left on this one, and we've got 7 minutes left on this one, so still some waiting to do. Hey, we have an overtier history, brother. Let's go. Let's go. Another overtier. Let's go. And I also see a Gargantua back there. Hey, that's one of the auras we're going for today. Maybe with the Gargantua right here, we'll have some better luck. And it's such a massive aura, also. Yeah, they just accidentally walked through the parkour. That makes sense. So that aura is probably blinding. Probably absolutely blinding. But we'll find out if I get it today, which I will. By the way, guys, we are getting Gargantua, right? I believe it's a 1 in 43 million chance when you're inside of Starfall. So we will definitely have an increased chance over the 1 in 430 million. But is it going to be enough? Not too sure. I did actually get my overtier history and Starfall, or sorry, not Starfall, Starscorch Radiant. Both of these I got with no max luck. None. Literally just got them normally playing the game while I was AFK. It was absolutely insane. We've got an Archie Legacy, Ethereal, I see a Matrix down there, Impeached. Guys, I still kind of want to get Matrix. I know that there's a lot of new auras and a lot of cool auras, but Matrix still looks sick, and the rework is pretty good. Yo, what's up, guys? What's up? Got the Gargantua. Looks like we've got another over here. There we got a Hades, Twilight, Starscorch. Yeah, Bloodlust. Bloodlust, dude. That's another one we're doing for today, guys. We're looking for a Gargantua, Bloodlust, and Abyssal Hunter. Those are the 3 we're looking for. If we even get one, I'm going to be extremely excited. Are we going to get one? Not too sure. If we somehow manage to get all 3, I don't know what's going to happen, bro. I'll probably explode. No, like, that would just be insane. Guys, I literally cannot see. I can't even tell where the middle of the parkour is, guys. It is not possible. There are auras everywhere you look. You don't need to see. Should be fine. But I can't even tell where the parkour luck is, bro. I'm just completely blind. It's somewhere in there. Once we get the bio, hopefully we'll find it. Anyways, so we got 2 minutes left on this one. Straight controller. Got about 3 minutes. So still some waiting to do. Hopefully we get one of the back we're looking for. I blocked Telly Pusher 2 and got Starscorch Radiant Breakthrough and Rainy. Bro got Starscorch Radiant. Ouch. Not gonna lie, guys. Starscorch Radiant, it may be because I have it. And also I have a bias against Starscorch. I hate all Starscorches. But I think it's kind of ugly. For 1 in 100 million, that is kind of mid. Like, I would have much rather gotten Chromatic Genesis than this. But I'm not gonna complain too much because it's still a 1 in 100 million. So, you know, I will absolutely take it. My PC sound like a jet. Yeah, let's try. All this going on, I'm honestly surprised I'm not lagging too much. I'm very surprised I'm not running at like 5 FPS right now. Because I gotta do that computer. Alright, even the power randomizer is almost there. And 1 minute left, guys. Hopefully we get the pass we're looking for. Alright, the cloud has to be there by now. Let's use it. Okay, I was wrong. It's almost only been a minute. Still, we've got 48 seconds left. I'm kind of scared. I am a little bit scared with everyone in this server that I'm gonna pop the power randomizer, get one of the biomes I'm looking for, use all of my potions, and then the second I'm ready to do it, someone's gonna use a strange controller and change the bio. That's what I'm scared of. That is genuinely what I am scared of. I hope no one is that much of a troll. That would be kind of sad. My viewers never do such a thing. I make trolling content, to be fair. But I trust you guys. I trust that you guys would never do something like this to me. And if you do, then I'm curious. But it's not gonna happen. I don't gotta worry about it. Let's get ready. Biome randomizer. 2 seconds left. 3 seconds left. Biome is it? It is. No. Is it a cooldown? Wait a second. Why is it a 20-minute cooldown? I thought it was only 10. Oh no. Alright, well. It could have went a whole lot longer then. I know that used to always say 20 minutes, but when you used it with 10 minutes remaining, it worked. So maybe I'm bugging. I thought it was just a bug where it showed 20 minutes and it was actually only 10, but I guess not. Well, we got away a bit longer apparently. Oh, no. I asked someone to use the fire randomizer since mine was on cooldown, and we got literally the second null of the video, guys. Second null of the video. Both times I've used the fire randomizer today, it has been what a great start. Okay, someone use strange controller now. Please, bro. Come on, strange controller clutch up. Someone has to have it, right? We've got a 30-person private server here. I know there is someone in here with a strange controller. Come on, please tell me we get an actual good file. And not something stupid. If we get null for a third time in a row, bro. Brady! Yes! Let's go! Alright. We got one of the bios. I can't see. Oh, I accidentally picked it up. Alright, I'm on a time crunch. Fortune potion 3. Lucky potion. Heavenly potion. Roll. And we got a celestial. No! First max luck of the video. And it's a celestial. Well, we've got two more. Two more to use. Hopefully I don't get cooked. Alright, we got two more, bro. Two more that we are going to be using. And we are looking now for the Starfall. Okay, now we need the Starfall or Hell. Still got two more. Alright, well, we did it in the rainy biome. And, well, we got a celestial. Not the greatest. At least we can craft a Heavenly Potion hole with that. You know, Heavenly Potion 2 into a Heavenly Potion 1. This seems like a good upgrade, honestly. Now all we gotta do is wait for the next round.
This guy has perfect genetics for bodybuilding. He even looks like Raymond Dino in his Into 33 tries to do that, which is insane. How big of a difference shoulders can make. At 100 kilometers per hour, this cyclist got a dead Robin. Luckily nothing happened. With your height becomes a disadvantage. From his stats, you might think he's about to do the best play ever, but that's not true. To be honest, great at boxing, but that beats folks with that combo are insane. If you got punched by Cascade, you are. And overall more with this exercise, and you'll be as well. That's not even a platform. He should do it like Arnold used to do it. With testosterone is so high that even some Solak is afraid.
You ever see me fighting Sam Sulak at the gym? Healthy Sam Sulak. Let's go with another fight.
He even got some look in Spanish before she did A6.
Yeah, little girl.
Jim River switched from incline club barbell press to incline club hits press. He was just dreaming and didn't actually beat Dennis.
Distribution of truck and found Anita.
The same people who used to bully him are now saying he's got big. How often should you use this to avoid doing cardio with rear racket weights? The clip is so real that the guy behind walks so normal. Bro says the other team has to touch the wall, so they forced him to do it, even though he didn't want. This cyclist was so fast that he started flying. This kid got an assist, not one goal, but on the other to understand what he just did is so hard. Let alone doing it. This guy can burn 1,000 calories just in 10 minutes. I just don't like calisthenics athletes. They can cook most. Since the first time I looked in the video, has a happy ending. The only number Travis Scott wasn't the highest in the world. I won't say anything because I can't even do that without falling. So it feels after eating an intense all day.
Got another one my back and bicep worked out about an hour and a half ago. My biceps now, they're trying to cramp every time I freaking flex. That's never happened. That's crazy.
We did not recently, you can do it all with the machine that easily machine. Even if you have a perfect physique, body dysmorphia and all it, these guys have all the time in the world to practice basketball. This kid needs a bit of working in current one is too cheap. Even 6 feet is too much for this kid to learn. Sometimes you just have to enjoy a 7 foot frame and feel the thrill of knocking. This is how you can flip a skateboard for the first time without experience. If you just hit a 225 bench 1 rep max, this one is for you. Technically, after doing 225 for 18,000 pounds for 1 rep, this one is just so good. It was so boring, so the referee stepped in to make it more exciting. So this one, don't do anything, and it just stopped. What they do, they can save this game. When riding a bicycle, this goalkeeper is way better than the previous one. But this goalkeeper wasn't paying attention to what was happening behind him. These kids are not which was the in the UK, if you leave your bike in public, 5 minutes is enough for it to disappear.
Your brother that stole his bike. Bike? What? What's your bike? I think they gave me 5 minutes.
At least the Gronk said is still there. Someone asked if it's English or Spanish. If a bodybuilder did this, people would mock him, but he's a boxer. How hard it is to cut weights as a tall person. This kick is crazy, but the save is even crazier. By doing that, he just went directly to the bench.
About time you got here. You ready to get this workout in?
Yeah.
Let's wait. Why would he have to? Oh my God! Yeah, I'm ready.
The heavy-duty workout is going to be intense. These sports journalists believe that Devon was cheating,
He cheat. He did cheat. You see how they complaining with Bobby on the first one? You can't do all that. Hey, you want some of me? Come on the show.
but he was unlucky because Devon was already there.
Let's make chicken nuggets. First, we'll select our chick. He's perfect. Then we'll mark him in blue. Next, we'll place him into the brooder. Gotta feed my chicken first. On day 1, I named him Nugget. Day 3, we took a little nap. Day 5, he walked outside for the first time. Day 7, we took a car ride. On day 9, his feet grew a lot. Day 14, he was so much bigger. Day 17, his first massage. His breasts were so soft. Day 21, he moved out to pasture. On day 30, we were halfway there. Day 35, we compared Nugget to a baby chick. On day 45, I just played with the baby pig the whole time. Come here. Day 52, I think he got suspicious. On day 55, one last massage. And finally came day 60. It's time. Let's make chicken nuggets. First, we'll select our chick. He's perfect. Then we'll mark him in blue. Next, we'll place him into
Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois. This is an infinity pillow. Why get a scarf when you could be cozy all winter long in this world? It has a twist here, and it's
Bounty Mega Win, 4 rolls in 1. I think the guy on the left might be a little nervous. This will happen to you if you're not subscribed to GigaTrack Fitness. Sam Sulek was disappointed at this guy after he realized he never does cardio. This might be one of the best gyms in the whole world. The noise this makes when the ball goes in is so satisfying. This is why fighters tap out, because they don't want this happening to their legs. His ankles got broken so bad that he didn't even get off the floor. These might be the only people who have served the Dolphins before. He was about to turn his family into a mob farm. They're really making anything a sport now.
Hands don't zig for between horses for the lead. Where's Dorinda on the inside?
This woman has the fastest bowling speed. The guy in the blue was losing his wrestling match, so the mum walks on the pad and starts hitting the red guy. He's casually lifting my lateral raise warm-up. There's not a single thought behind those horses' eyes. This guy might be the most healthy smoker. The amount of airtime she got on that jump is actually insane.
Incredible! 350!
Canelo really makes dodging punches look easy. This guy's wife passed away before he was due to compete in the Olympics. He promised her that he would win the gold medal, and when the time came, he managed to do it.
I'm gonna do arms. The same as normal.
I wasn't expecting this to happen. When you're on a bike and you're going down the stairs, the sound it makes is really satisfying. His uncle outside, so that's exactly what he did. If everyone in the gym was like this guy, it would be a much better place. This guy hit a golf ball into someone's backyard, so he asked the dogs if they could get it for him, and surprisingly, they actually did it. This guy's trying to break the world record with quickest balls. This football game is about to be called off because all the stuff on the pitch, but fans from either side help and clear the pitch within minutes. They should make it illegal for this guy to ever touch a football again. This does look extremely goofy, but I bet it is a lot of fun. This guy's on a wobble and it's literally impossible to tip this over. It's honestly crazy how big some icebergs are.
Run! Oh! Oh my god!
Bro is the laziest bird on this planet. Bro went from chubby to absolutely shredded. How do you even train dogs to do these sort of things? When I'm on creatine, I'm drinking about 400 gallons of water a day. Polar bears do this when traveling across thin ice to avoid falling in. Bro's legs are gigantic. This guy might have found the best place on earth. But Ed actually really scared me. Even the commentator was speechless. I bet all of his teammates hate him as well.
That is the most extraordinary goal I think I've ever seen.
These football fans were pulled after the game, so we started cheering whether this guy was pedaling or not. It must feel incredible to score a goal like this in front of thousands. Why does Cal look like he's enjoying the ride? It's insane how realistic this massive looks. She was too nervous to ask Ronaldo for a picture, but it ended up working out in the end. This guy massively fumbled at the start, but he managed to slowly bring it back and run across the whole pitch to score a point for his team. To lose that much weight in only over 1 year is actually insane. These folks did the right thing instead of taking him to jail, which we could do. The guy offering the machinery is actually goated. I can't even say girls walking around, and she's out here doing all of this. He still hasn't washed his hands to this very day. He's casually fishing under a giant oil rig.
He smoked it. Look at that stud. Bubba Sheep said they got
How do you even know what to do when you're moving this fast? You guys can use some skill or luck or a mixture of both.
big risk. Wait a minute. Where's it gonna finish? Wait a minute.
He's so good at fishing, the only thing he needs is his fun. This is probably the best and most satisfying goal I've ever seen. This guy is actually insane. It looks like he's just playing around with defenders, and like when he gets bored, he finally decides to score. That cat is actually dragging us down for. I didn't even know fish in rivers could get that big. I really thought his bite was about to snap apart. The amount of protein in that dog is insane. And he really tried to take her and struggle down with it. Have any of you guys been bungee jumping before? This guy's 10 years older than Ronnie Coleman, and at 68, his legs are still shredded. This guy's actually a coach, giving out free donuts to all the runners. Or needs to get into the water and remove the hook. I think he regrets doing this. The amount of growth that is grown is insane. This guy's almost going using Bolt speed. Walking or running in snow might be the nicest sound. Bro's doing the goofy look. This is FPV drone flying, and it can get quite expensive if you're as good as this guy. How much money would you need to do this job?
Hey guys, I'm from Florida Everglades and I'm attracting a swarm puppy.
This guy's girlfriend was recording him and blocking him because he's never got a hole in one before, but then he shoots and this happens.
Nope, that's not gonna go in.
Instead of going to run, this guy decided to run 20 miles.
20 miles.
This goal is actually crazy. If you've ever been hit by liver, you know how much pain this guy's in. I would be so scared about possibly being stuck in there forever. Doing pull-ups and back grip is actually really hard. I think the guy on the left might be.
Today I'll be making the dudes whose career is like 20% rapping and 80% smoking weed. Yeah, that's right, that's Snoop Dogg. Apparently my man Snoop has a really good ramen recipe, so I'm gonna try it.
the cheese. Some beef jerky. Cut the beef jerkies up like Doritos, yeah.
Sweet chili heat Doritos. Don't even fucking lie. You know sweet chili heat's the best flavor. The Snoop Dogg one. Well, cheers. 7-Eleven. Bro, I swear to God, Snoop Dogg has like the wackiest inventions ever. Today, I'll be making.
I gathered a bunch of players from different ranks who said they were mechanical, meaning they can hit cool shots with using fancy schmancy stuff like whatever that is. And I decided to put their mechanics to the test by creating an insane challenge with money on the line. Basically, I made this wheel with all kinds of basic mechanics, ranging from super easy, like an open net, all the way to impossible, like a triple flip reset, which I guess is actually possible, but not for me. Each player has 5 lives and 3 skips, with the goal being to hit as many shots in a row successfully. For each mechanic they pull off, they earn money, which increases all the way up to $100 at the 10th shot. So, which rank will be best? And which subscribers will win the 40,000 credits I'm giving away at 400,000 subs? If you don't know, I'm in a race against Wayne and Vanovic to 500k, and we're moving crazy fast, so keep that up. And I'm giving away credits at every milestone until we hit that number. So, subscribe on as many accounts as you want for more chances, and let's get into the challenge. It's easy. Okay, dribble the ball on top of your car for 15 seconds. I'll keep track for you. As soon as you're ready. Alright, good. If you're 15 seconds. Oh, it's already down. You lost a life. That's unfortunate. I'm going to spin your first mechanic.
Let's go.
Alright, first shot is one of the tougher ones. Remember, you do have 3 skips. Your first shot is a ceiling musty.
Okay, I'll do it.
You're going to do it. I love the just raw confidence. Oh, it's looking good.
Man.
Oh, kind of a scuffed take
I did
off.
not get a good setup.
That was a tough setup. I think you would have had it without the setup. You gonna try it again? You lost 1 life.
I think I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Control. I don't think he has the other touch. Dang, imagine he pulled off a double tap. All right, we can use
All right,
one of the skips. All right, good call.
how many steps do you get?
You get 3 skips. You have 5 lives.
The massive spear that's attached to this fish's forehead is not just for decoration. It's a lethal weapon. As you can see in this photo, not only are these things literally armed to the teeth, but marlin are one of the biggest fish on Earth. This is a different marlin, caught just a few days ago by a local fisherman here in Indonesia. Anyways, this is my buddy's footage in Australia. After his buddy spears this little jobfish, before they're able to grab it, a big hungry marlin comes out of nowhere and steals the catch. But before it was able to finish eating, the fish was stolen again, this time by a shark. Talk about instant karma. Anyways, the marlin stays in the area, hoping to find more fish to steal. Instead, he finds my buddy with a loaded Aimrite spear gun. Although that was a perfect shot, he dives back down for a backup shot, just in case. This is a perfect example of how spearfishing is the most ethical way you can possibly catch a fish. Speaking of which, look at how massive the plays are. Not one single piece will go to waste. The massive spear that's attached to this fish.
Could you survive only drinking these liquids, like lava, for example? If I could not drink anything else except for lava, I think I would survive maybe 5 minutes. It looks already drinkable. A 15-second, okay, for a burst. It's glue. If I only drink glue and nothing else, house, I would probably say 5 minutes. 34 minutes! So that's scary to think about. Drinking only hot sauce. Do they even have water in them? If not, I would say 4 to 5 days. 1 week. Oh, I guess they do have a bit of water. Mouthwash. So I don't know about this for cheap. Maybe 2 weeks. 20 hours. That seems pretty dangerous for something that is allowed on the shelves. Vodka. Maybe 80 years. Easy. 4.5 days. Oh, yeah. But I have a liver. You're right. Ugh. I thought that kind of like maybe gag a little bit. I don't know. It took me 5 days, so I wouldn't do it. 3 weeks. What? Oh, I guess you're recycling the same thing over and over. Lemonade. Okay, this has a bit of water. Probably a lifetime. Surely it's limited itself to 5 months. Okay, who's calculating this? How do you do it? Out of this list, which one do you dread? Drinking the consuming the most. How could you survive only drinking these liquids, like lava, for example?
Hey everyone, who wants to play 2 truths and a lie? Oh, I'll go first. I'm really small. My eyes are green.
Massive speed. Right now, I'm trading the head of a giant tuna to some local fishermen. Although Florida, right now, I'm trading the head of a giant tuna to some local fishermen. In return, they give us octopus and tons of lobster. At the market, this would be incredibly expensive. But here in remote Indonesia, it's free. Well, not exactly free. I had to dive down 80 feet deep with a spear gun the size of a tree trunk, find a massive tuna, launch a spear through the side of its face, swim to the surface without blacking out, pull on the float line as hard as I can to stop the tuna from getting tangled on the ocean floor. But these giant tuna guns aren't always a good thing, because although they are incredibly powerful, when you try to spear a fish that's near a rock, like my buddy, if your aim isn't perfect, your spear and reputation will be ruined forever. And so when my other buddy was diving with his giant tuna gun and saw this lobster hiding in a cave, he leaves his big spear gun loaded on the bottom of the ocean, grabs his smaller gun, loads it halfway, follows the line directly back down to the lobster's cave, and blasted in the head. But although his spearfishing technique was perfect and that lobster was incredibly delicious, the ending of this video would have been so much better if he blasted that rock with his giant tuna gun. Right now, I'm trading, although Florida does have some of the best spearfishing on Earth, it also has the most shark attacks on Earth. And if you're handling bloody fish in the water, your chances of an attack are even high, especially when you don't get a headshot, because the vibrations of an injured fish swarming in the water attract sharks from miles away. Luckily, these particular sharks are more interested in mating than eating. You see this tiny little fish next to the shark's reproductive organ? That's a cobia, one of the tastiest fish on Earth. But unlike this female shark, that cobia is too small to spear. The bigger ones tend to live with the bigger predators, and in Florida, that means bull sharks. Other than great whites, they're the most deadly sharks on Earth, probably because they have the highest levels of testosterone in the entire animal kingdom. Speaking of testosterone, this is my buddy Jack, attempting to spear a giant cobia while diving in a school of giant bull sharks. But when he doesn't get a headshot, the bloody squirming fish sends the sharks into a feeding frenzy, which is not ideal. And so he came up with a solution to attach a bullet to the tip of his spear gun, so that when he pulls the trigger, the cobia are blasted with explosive gunpowder, which increases his chances of a stone shot and decreases his chances of getting eaten alive by sharks. Having said that, there are no guarantees. Although Florida does have some of the best, when you travel far enough from civilization, the hardest part is not having any ice, because when you spear a fish that's too big to eat in one day, like this, after stabbing it in the head and throwing it on the boat, the meat will spoil without proper refrigeration. This is normal everyday life for the locals here. You fillet it, cover it in salt, hang it over a fire, and leave it in the tropical sun for the next 3 days. But when they catch a fish, they don't stab it in the head like I did. Instead, they leave it alive in a pool of water in the bottom of the boat, because the meat can't spoil if the fish is still breathing. Meanwhile, below the surface, we're looking for a much bigger target. That was a long shot, and it might break free. So I dive down to place a backup shot, because this fish is big. I wait until I'm close enough for a headshot, and even with 2 giant metal spears through its body, this fish is incredibly powerful. And I can't imagine pulling it up with my bare hands and no fishing rods like the locals. Anyways, after stabbing it in the head and putting it on the boat, we're reminded of the hardships of not having any ice by drinking warm beer. And remember that little fish alive in the bottom of the boat? Well, back on shore when the locals boil it for soup, it's still flopping around. When you travel far enough from civilization, the oldest cave painting in the world shows an image of a human throwing a spear at a seal. And 40,000 years later, after getting over 1 billion views on YouTube launching spears into fish, I have yet to spear a seal like our ancestors. And so, when I saw this dugong while diving off the coast of Bali, just kidding, a lot lot has changed over these past 40,000 years, but at the same time, nothing has changed. For instance, when I speared this giant and told people about it via YouTube video, it really wasn't that different than a Homo sapien reliving his giant mammoth hunt via cave. Because although our ancestors did prefer big animals because they fed more people, it's also a lot more exciting. And for me, those videos tend to go more viral. But I can't always spear a monster fish. And so the question is, does an average fish really warrant a YouTube video? Because I've never seen a cave painting of a Neanderthal catching a small squirrel. Having said that, the views a cave painting gets is not determined by an algorithm that rewards posting cave paintings more often than Neanderthals who don't. And so I took this average fish to a restaurant here in Bali, and it satisfied my hunger for about 5 hours. The oldest cave painting in the world shows an image of a human throwing a spear at a seal. And 40,000. When a killer whale attacks a great white shark, they don't actually eat it. Instead, they cut open its stomach with surgical precision and eat only the liver. Similarly, when this guy broke into SeaWorld to swim with one of their captive orcas, it drowned him, pulled off his shorts, and ate only his genitals. And when a pod of orcas hunts a whale, they only eat its tongue. But full-grown whales are not easy to kill. They're incredibly powerful. And so the orcas have devised a plan. They chase down the whales and wait until the baby calf loses energy, at which point they take turns holding it underwater to drown it. But it's not over yet, because sperm whales have a trick up their sleeve, or rather, up their butt. According to footage from Whale Watch Western Australia, a pod of sperm whales made a protective circle around their baby calf, with their tails facing outwards, like this. And when the orcas charged, they launched red whale diarrhea directly into their face, over and over again, until the orcas gave up. It may seem hard to believe that this successfully thwarted the killer whales, but let's put it in human terms. Imagine if every time you went to Burger King, whale poop was launched into your face. Is it really worth the hassle, or would you just go to McDonald's instead? When a killer whale attacks a great white shark, this giant tuna was probably 20 years old when I launched a spear through its soul, at which point I pulled it up from the depths, threw it on the small boat, brought it to the big boat, and took a bunch of photos. But this fish is way too big for us to eat, so I threw it back on the small boat, brought it to the beach, and shared it with some local villagers here in Indonesia who were confused but brave. And not one single piece went to waste. But if you don't get a headshot like this, a bigger fish may try and steal your catch. Like that. And sharks, like Goliath Grouper, can sense the struggle of a wounded fish in the water, which is exactly what happens when I spear this other giant tuna. And being caught in the middle of a feeding frenzy of sharks is not an ideal situation. As they take bites out of the tuna as if it were an apple, I hope the same thing doesn't happen to my leg. Luckily, the small boat comes to the rescue, and we try to salvage what's left of my tuna. But as I pose for a photo, the Indonesian Coast Guard is waiting for us at the mothership. And when they see our catch, they're super impressed to pose for a bunch of photos as well. And then we have some sashimi and give the fish to them, or at least what's left of it. This giant tuna was when green blood poured out of the body of this tuna. I knew that my aim was perfect. But my buddy dove down and shot it again, just in case. At which point I stabbed it in the head, threw it on the boat, cut its stomach open, and found a smaller, half-digested fish in its belly, which the boat captain took home for dinner. You see this other little fish that this other tuna's hunting? Well, it's roughly the same size and color as this plastic pipe, which, when I throw it in the water, a tuna will hopefully mistake for one of those bait fish and swim within range of my spear gun. Bullseye. More green blood. You see how its body is shaking uncontrollably? That means that I severed its spine. But because my spear hit its spine, it didn't penetrate all the way through its body, which means it might escape. So I pull it up from the depths very gently, at which point those same little fish swarm around the tuna, eating scraps of sashimi from its wound. Back on the surface, its blood is now red. I push the spear through the other side of its fat body to secure the catch, and when I end its suffering, it vomits up its last meal, which consists of those same small fish that were just eating it, and a small squid. But the boatman didn't want it, so I released it back into the wild. When green blood poured, this shark can live to be over 500 years old. This giant tortoise named Jonathan is getting its first bath in over 184 years of life. And this big marlin was probably less than 3 years old when my buddy launched a spear through its spine. According to the comments section, there's something kind of sad about killing a majestic marlin. And I kind of agree. But the oldest tropical fish ever recorded was 81 years old before researchers killed it so that they could test and find out how old it is. Snappers are one of the most caught fish on Earth. Just like how it's normal to eat chicken, it's very normal to catch snapper because they aren't as big or beautiful as marlin. Similar to how people are more offended by elephant hunters than by chicken farmers. But elephants aren't just more majestic than chickens, they're a lot smarter, which is why I don't love the idea of people hunting elephants either. But marlin aren't any smarter than snappers, and you would have to catch at least 50 snappers to get that same amount of meat. And because this marlin was harvested sustainably in Australia and not one piece went to waste, the only reason that people are more offended by someone catching it is because it's prettier. This shark can live to be over around in the ocean is not actually good for the environment. So then why does the government think that it's a good idea to dump all their old train cars out here? And the answer is because subway cars are made of metal, which eventually corrodes into nothing. And in the meantime, they're a fisherman's wet dream. But the government keeps the locations of these underwater subway stops a secret. Luckily for us fishermen, though, shipwrecks are no different. And this shipwreck is around 80 feet deep off the coast of Florida, and it's full of life. And this is my buddy Jack holding his breath looking for dinner. But after he spears one of the fish, a Goliath grouper, almost as big as the hull of the ship, steals his cat. I don't know if shipwrecks or sunken train cars are actually a good thing for the environment, but this giant grouper certainly seems happy that they're there. When New York City gets a new subway car, they take the old ones and dump them in the middle of the ocean. This is done to help the environment. For instance, you know the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Well, it's absolutely teeming with life. But obviously, having a bunch of plastic 3 times the size of Texas, when a nuclear submarine launches a torpedo, the speed of that torpedo is slower than the speed of a sprinting tuna. These fish can travel more than a marathon every single day. And if you were to touch the tail of a big one, it could easily shatter all of the bones in your hand. But when I speared this tuna, my hand's not in danger. My life is in danger. Because first the line gets wrapped around my $2,000 spear gun, which is promptly ripped from my fingers. But then the line gets wrapped around my weight belt, at which point I am literally attached to a mini meat torpedo while holding my breath 60 feet deep. I'm trying to swim up as fast as possible while it's trying to swim down as fast as possible. Each of us is swimming as if our lives depended on it. Now I have to make a decision. Drop the weight belt and lose my expensive spear gun and the fish, or risk my life on a deadly game of underwater tug of war. I choose the latter, partially because my dive buddy's on the surface watching over me, and partly because I'm kind of dumb. Almost lost. After a quick reflection on my poor life choices, my buddy places a backup shot, and you have no idea how delicious the sashimi is. It was literally to die for, almost. When a nuclear submarine launches a torpedo speed, Indonesia has some of the biggest fish on Earth. It also has some of the strongest currents on Earth, and this can be a deadly combination if you're spearfishing. For instance, when I speared this fish, it got tangled around these rocks, and I eventually had to cut the line because the current was too strong to swim against. Luckily, I didn't lose any of my gear, or the fish, or my life. But this time, I wasn't so lucky. I eventually had to cut the line again, and although I still got the fish, my spear was lost forever. Which is not good because the next weekend I was planning to try to catch some tuna, which isn't really possible without a spear. So back home in Bali, I buy a new spear, cut some line, tie some knots, cut the excess line off using a knife from my Knife a Month membership, of course. And yes, they paid me to say that, but they are great knives. Anyway, 1 week later, I take my little Balinese fishing boat out into the middle of the ocean and spear a nice yellowfin tuna, which might be the tastiest fish in the entire ocean. Speaking of which, I get home with fillet, share some with my cat, make sashimi, give the spine and head of the fish to the construction workers next door to make fish soup, and crack open a coconut to enjoy with the sashimi. If you're interested in signing up for a Knife a Month membership, the massive spear that's attached to this fish's forehead is not just for decoration. It's a lethal weapon, as you can see in this photo. Not only are these things literally armed to the teeth, but marlin are one of the biggest fish on Earth. This is a truck.
Wash the dishes like a Bosch. With perfect drying results, even on plastics. From Bosch. Night Market is finally back again. Now we're gonna open it in many different accounts. And this is my main account with the most skins, but this time we got like 4 purples. I guess it's gonna be a good one. Okay, the first 2 is Mini Operator Stinger. Not that good. Let's just open the rest. Silver Guardian, Reconspector, Doodle Phantom, Prime Classic. I think this is kind of decent. The Reconspector is a really great skin. Doodlebut is meh, even though the discount is like 40%. And the Prime Classic, even though the Prime Classic is the best here, but the discount is only like 30%. But overall, this is an okay start in my opinion. Maybe if I get to choose which one to buy, I'll probably get the Prime Classic and the Reconspector. Now move on to the second Night Market. This time we only got 1 purple, but 2 golds. Let's get rid of the blue ones first.